దూరవిద్యా విధానంలో డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ దేశంలోనే మొట్టమొదటి సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం. దాదాపు 2.5 దశాబ్దాలుగా దూరవిద్యా విధానం ద్వారా కంప్యూటర్ కోర్సును అనుసంధానం చేస్తూ బీఏ, బీకామ్, బీఎస్సీ డిగ్రీ కోర్సులను అందిస్తోంది. పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్ స్థాయి, డిగ్రీ, డిప్లొమా స్థాయి కోర్సులను ఔత్సాహికులైన విద్యార్థులకు అందిస్తోంది. డెవలప్మెంట్ స్టడీస్లో సెంటర్ ఫర్ ఎకనామిక్స్ అండ్ సోషల్ స్టడీస్ ద్వారా ఎంఫిల్, పీహెచ్డీతో పాటు విశ్వవిద్యాలయమే స్వయంగా దూర విద్యా విధాన అంశంపైన పీహెచ్డీ వంటి పరిశోధన కోర్సులు ప్రవేశపెట్టింది. రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా సుమారు 4.5 లక్షల మంది విద్యార్థులు ఈ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం నుంచి ఉన్నత విద్యావకాశాలు పొందుతున్నారు. డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయం స్థానికంగా స్వయం బోధనా పద్ధతిలో ముద్రణ రూపంలో రూపొందించిన కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అందిస్తోంది. కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ అధ్యయనానికి సహకరించే విధంగా రేడియో, టెలివిజన్ పాఠ్యాంశాల ఆధారంగా కార్యక్రమాలు ప్రసారం చేస్తోంది. అధ్యయన కేంద్రాల ద్వారా ఏర్పాటు చేసే సలహా సంసర్గ తరగతులు, సైన్స్ ప్రాక్టికల్ సౌకర్యాలు విద్యార్థులకు స్వయం అధ్యయనానికి ఒక చక్కటి అవకాశం. ఇవి విద్యార్థి సమీపంలో ఉండే అధ్యయన కేంద్రం నుంచే పొందొచ్చు.
Hello learners, welcome to this teleconference. The topic selected for today's discussion is climate change and greenhouse gases. This topic constitutes Unit 19 of Course 5 of PG second year botany program. This topic is not only the concern of PG students, it is also the concern of UG students, school students, toddlers and yet to be born, because the threat of climate change is looming large over the entire human race. A study by Climate Vulnerability Forum says that there can be 5 million deaths in the next 10 years if we do not take any precautionary measures. So, yesterday there was a conclusion of Cancun conference at Mexico, where 193 nations got together to discuss climate change and the dangers inherent in them. The United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, he appealed to the nations to come to some sort of agreement to save the earth. So you see, it's a very sensitive issue. And to discuss this, we have with us in the studios, on my extreme left, we have Professor Mary Esther Cynthia. Now, she is the head of the Department of Botany of PG College, Osmania University in Koti. She has been teaching the PG as well as the UG students for the last 28 years, and she has got several students who have received PhD, and she has attended several conferences and published around 40 papers. On my left, I have Dr. Annie Sharon. She is a lecturer at AV College. She is also teaching ecology and environmental sciences, and she is also teaching the Ambedkar Open University students, and she has done a lot of work on biodiversity of lakes in the Hyderabad region. So, now we want to start the discussion, which is very important. Now, before we begin the discussion, I want to invite questions. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to phone. The phone numbers are 2703 1431, 2703 1432 2703 1433. So now, as I said that climate change is an important threatening phenomenon. The climate which has been conducive to human life, suddenly we find that there are several erratic changes. I believe of the 12 last summers, 11 have been very hot. In fact, Hyderabad also experienced a very hot summer last May. And after summer came the rainfall. It has been continuous spell of rains, I mean something unusual. So, all this, is it because of some sort of a climate change? Professor Mary, can you please tell us whether this is an indication of climate change?
Indeed, it is an indication of climate change because we see erratic and extremes of weather. The temperatures are rising. In summer, they are becoming hotter and hotter. In Hyderabad city itself, in 2010, this highest summer temperature was 45.7 degrees centigrade. In 2009, it was 45.5 degrees centigrade. And in 2008, it was 45.4. The other day on December 8, this year only, we have seen that there was a sudden drop in the temperature. It fell down by 6 degrees centigrade than the normal. This is leading to the melting of ice caps. All this very clearly indicates definitely there is climate change.
Okay. So, the temperatures are rising.
Yes.
And because of the rise of this temperature, the polar ice caps are melting. Because the polar ice caps are melting, we have the rise in sea levels. So, you see all a connected phenomenon. And then of course, so what is climate, Dr. Annie? Could you tell us what is climate?
It's ever since the earth came into existence, there has been a climate system. The climate of a place is the average weather pattern that is it experiences over a period of time. Okay, the factors that influence the determine a climate or of a location are the rainfall and sunshine, humidity, temperature, and overall sunshine it receives, wind, and etc. These changes in the weather they may occur suddenly and noticeably, but these changes cause a long time to settle in the atmosphere, so they are less obvious. Okay, throughout the Earth's history, there have been changes in the climate. Okay, and there have been well marked cold and hot periods, and all life forms adapted naturally to this change. If you look at this picture, you can observe this is a geological time scale, and these are the various periods in the geological time scale, and this is the temperature scale 10 degrees, 17 degrees, 25 degrees and above. If you take this, if you look at this picture carefully, you can see a the change in temperature from cool to warm and again cool warm, then alternative temperature changes. There are in Precambrian period there was a cool temperature that existed, and now also we are experiencing cool temperature. If you take Jurassic period, the temperatures were as high as the global average temperature I am talking about. It is as high as 25 degrees, and it was suddenly dropped to, in late Jurassic period, it suddenly dropped to 17 degrees centigrade, okay, below 17 degrees centigrade. So, this is a natural phenomena, okay, and over the last 150 and 200 years, the climate change has been taking place too rapidly because of the human activities. We call it as anthropogenic activities, and man is responsible for all this sudden change in the climate. Okay.
Okay, so man is responsible. Man is responsible because he wants to improve his living conditions, and that is through science. You can say, you know, science has always been for the welfare of the human beings, trying to control the climate also. Suppose very hot, we put the ACs on. If we go in the car also, we put on the ACs. So, all this, they produce certain molecules which are escaping into the atmosphere, and these are all causing changes. Then by industrialization, we are going for development. Like we say, all the developed countries are highly industrialized. So, all this has got some side effects. So, man is responsible for the change in climate. Now, has this climate changed earlier also, or is it has always been like this?
We can't.
Madam, would you like to say?
Yeah. In the early 19th century, from then onwards, there is a change in the climate was observed. One particular scientist by the name Ravelli, in the year 1975, he predicted that there is an increase in the atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration. In the ambient air quality, the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 0.03%, but wherever the industries are located. So, when we take at the place where the industry is located, the carbon dioxide concentration tends to rise. So, with the industrialization, what is happening is the total global carbon dioxide concentration is increasing. So, Ravelli, he predicted that with this particular rise in the concentration of carbon dioxide, the melting of ice caps was predicted. He said the first important effect which we will see because of global warming is melting of ice cap. With this melting of ice caps, the rise in the sea level takes place. So, the sea level, the satellite images are right now showing us that the sea level is rising. Another very important thing which he has said is shift in the agricultural breadths. And today we see that the ocean waters are becoming warmer and warmer up to a depth of 3000 meters also. So, we can definitely say that the global warming, climate changing actually started in the beginning of the 19th century, and today in the 21st century it has become more.
I see.
I have one point to add. This climate change, as I have told you earlier, it is a natural phenomena, and there are natural causes also which are causing this climate change. I will show you one chart. These are the natural causes, like there is a continental drift or plate tectonics. If you take this, the continents now we are seeing today were formed millions of years ago, and they are when they from a single landmass, and they were drifted away, they were drifted apart, and this drift also had an impact on the climate. Okay, as it changed the physical features of the landmass as well as the position of the water bodies. Okay, and this separation changed the flow of ocean currents, which leads to climate change. It is a natural cause. And the other one is volcanism. When volcanoes erupt, they throw up more amount of gases like sulfur dioxide, water vapor, dust, ash into the atmosphere. And though the volcanic activity lasts only for few days, these large volumes of ash and all the dust particles, they will settle in the air and they will partly block the sunlight. And what will happen, there will be slow down of the earth's temperature. So, then it is naturally the climate change occurs. If you take the third one, solar output, there is long and short term variations, okay, and Earth's tilt, orbital variations. We know that our Earth is tilted slightly, that is 23.5 degrees, 23.5 degrees, but we think that it is fixed to the axis is fixed. We always think that in that way, but it is not so. For every century, it is said that the Earth tilt is it is tilting half a degree per century.
Oh, I see.
Yes, and this is called as precession. This is called as precession, and this precession leads to climatic changes. And even the ocean currents, we know El Nino effect. This ENSO, Pacific Decadal and North Atlantic and Arctic oscillations, these ocean currents also have impact on climate change. So, these are the natural causes, as I told earlier, the human influences. You have rightly said that industrialization, industrial activities and deforestation, transport and releasing of more amount of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere are causing rapid change in the climate in the recent past.
So, earlier there used to be ice age, then ice started melting and then it started. So, it is a natural process for climate change.
Yes.
But of late what happens is, because of the introduction of different gases, byproducts of industrialization, the climate seems to be changing faster and with detrimental results, that is affecting the human beings in harmful ways. Now, is environmental degradation linked with climate change, Madam? Professor Mary.
Yeah, environmental degradation is very closely linked to climate change, because one of the most important natural resource, that is forests. Forests are being cut down by man for various purposes, as we have just now rightly discussed by Dr. Annie and told by Professor Saraswati Rao. We are cutting down the trees in the name of development, in the name of development in terms of science and technology. We are cutting trees to set up an industry, we are cutting trees to construct dams, for urbanization, etc. So, cutting of these forests is leading in course of time to the destruction of the natural habitat. All the plants and the wildlife which are living in the forest, slowly they are becoming extinct. Extinction of the species is taking place. At the same time, gradually the soil at the place where once forest was there, the number of trees are coming down. So, when the trees are completely being lost slowly, in course of time, if there is a desert nearby, the extension it is soil erosion and the desertification is taking place. Slowly the area which is coming under the desert is increasing. So, this climate change, cutting of the forest, not only is having an effect on soil erosion, destroying the natural habitat, the species, plant species and the animal species, they are becoming extinct, and at the same time another very important thing what we are seeing nowadays, we are experiencing is extremes and erratic conditions. Suddenly we see the temperature is becoming hot, cold, yes. Suddenly we are getting floods, rain unpredictable. So, all this can be very closely related to the environmental degradation, and not only that, the carbon cycle, which is one of the important natural biogeochemical cycle, is also being affected, and the water cycle. Water is called as the mirror of life, and water, without water there is no life. No plant, animal or human being can exist without water. So, this water cycle and the carbon cycle, which plays a key role in the ecosystems and which is very useful for the survival of life and mankind, is being affected because of environmental degradation.
So, when environmental degradation takes place, lot of industries are emitting a lot of gases like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, and all this, when they mix the water, they comes down as acid rain. Now, this also like it causes erosion of the leaves and all those things. So, you know, their photosynthesis does not take place normally.
Yes.
So, one is that, and then it must be affecting lot of birds and animals and all, because the acid is coming down. It is not the rainwater. So,
even
no more can the peacock
fertility.
dance in the rain, because there will be acid in it.
Yes.
So, it may lose its beautiful feathers.
Yes.
So, you see, even the sparrow has come down, you know, is becoming rarer and rarer now.
Yes,
You don't see sparrows as you saw 5-6 years back.
Yes.
So, there are several birds which are getting extinct. This is all environmental degradation.
Yes.
Now, man wants to dominate the earth
Ecosystem.
at the cost of other plants, animals,
Yes.
and the different microorganisms. So, environmental degradation plays a very important role in climate change. So, when the climate is changing, weathers are changing. So, the plants again have to adapt to the new climate.
Yes.
So, it will affect the agriculture also.
That's
Yeah.
It
true.
will affect.
Production.
So, that means the human food sources are getting affected.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Because of
cutting into the
this,
human food source.
Yeah.
So, recently there were rains and there were farmers had to commit suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so much of loss
Crop
of the
loss.
crops. So, you know, this climate change has got a long range benefit, effect. Now, apart from this, we have also what is known as the greenhouse effect. Now, could you please tell what is the greenhouse effect?
Okay. If you look at this picture, this is what a greenhouse is. Okay, you might have seen this in well-established nurseries and horticultural institutes or horticultural establishments. The sun's light, it will be absorbed into the house, and it heats up the ground, and the heat will be some of the heat, the heat won't be reflected out of the house, but only the light will be reflected out, and the temperature, the warmth will be remain inside the house. The same effect, the same working principle exists in the earth system. If you look at this picture, this is earth and sun. The solar radiation, okay, it reaches the earth, and the greenhouse gases will be present in earth's atmosphere, and the solar radiation that reaches the earth warms the earth surface, and heat rises from the surface, and this heat, some of the heat will be able to pass through the gases, and it will reach the outer atmosphere, but some heat will be just can't pass through this atmosphere, and the remaining it remains in the atmosphere, and overall it increases the overall temperature. So, the gases which are play an important role in this effect are called as greenhouse gases. Like these are it's a natural phenomena, and these greenhouse gases are very important for the earth's temperature to maintain. Otherwise, the earth should have been 30 degrees lesser than it should be. Okay, it acts as a blanket in the it acts as a blanket to the earth, and it protects the earth's temperature.
So, in the greenhouse effect means that the atmosphere, some gases are there which form a blanket.
Yes.
Like generally carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere in 0.03%.
Yes.
But due to deforestation, due to environmental degradation, what has happened is this higher percentage of carbon dioxide in the air. Along with carbon dioxide, there are several other gases which have been emitted by the different industries, by the burning of fossil fuels, which also are present in the atmosphere. Now, they form what is known as a blanket.
Yeah.
So, when the sun rays come in, the heat, it heats the earth, but the heat is not reflected back into space. So, what happens? The temperature is retained. Now, this temperature causes what is known as the rise in temperatures. That is how we explain the recent phenomenon of hot summers.
Yeah.
Because a blanket has been formed over the atmosphere now. So, what are the different greenhouse gases? Would you like to answer that, madam?
Before I answer that particular one, as just now both of you have said, one particular point I would like to add. The different types of radiations which warm, especially which warm the earth, are the infrared radiations.
Yes.
So, light consists of electromagnetic waves of different wavelength. So, this light, especially visible light, is a very small part of that one. It ranges from 400 microns to 750 microns. Beyond it are the infrared radiations. The infrared radiations are called as the heating radiations. So, just now as Dr. Anna has said very rightly, the earth will absorb all the radiations. It will also absorb the infrared radiations. It is these infrared radiations which help in the warming of the earth. and this blanket of atmosphere which has carbon dioxide, it will not allow all the infrared radiations to go back to the outer space, but it will retain a part of them. So, that is why we are getting this particular one. Then coming to the greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases, the most important one is carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide, as we have already said and we are saying, we all know in the ambient air quality, the carbon dioxide concentration is 0.03%.
Yes.
This carbon dioxide, because of industrialization, especially burning of fossil fuels, coal, is leading to the increase in carbon dioxide concentration. So, this carbon dioxide which is present in the air, apart from that, another very important greenhouse gas is nitrous oxide. This nitrous oxide, especially when it is present in the atmosphere, it absorbs more heat, that is 270 times more heat than carbon dioxide per molecule. So, nitrous oxide, when it is there in the atmosphere, it is one of the very important, second important greenhouse gas. When it is present, it absorbs 270 times more heat than carbon dioxide per molecule. Another third important greenhouse gas is methane. This particular methane, when it is present, it also absorbs 21 times more heat per molecule than carbon dioxide. So, when nitrous oxide is there, methane is there, and the fourth one is CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons. Now, we all know that in order to make man's life comfortable, we want to maintain, in summer we want to keep ourselves cool, in winter we want to keep ourselves warm. So, we have refrigerators, air conditioners. So, by using of the refrigerators and air conditioners, the chlorofluorocarbons are emitted. So, this is one of the most important greenhouse gas which is playing a very important role, because this chlorofluorocarbon, when it is present, it is playing a role, it depletes the ozone layer.
Yes.
The ozone layer is present in the stratosphere. The atmosphere is called, it is a multi-layered gaseous envelope. This multi-layered gaseous envelope is the atmosphere. In it, the second layer, the lowermost layer is called as the troposphere. The second layer is called as the stratosphere. So, in the upper part of the stratosphere, this ozone is present. So, when this CFCs, then carbon goes and touch that particular one, it is causing the depletion of the ozone layer. So, these gases, the greenhouse gases, play a very important role. In the initial sense, even water vapor, they absorb heat. In the beginning, they were there to sustain life on earth, but now since it is becoming more and more heated, we have to think.
Okay, madam. Now we are going to break for the news. We will resume soon after we finish with the news. Thank you. Welcome back to the studios. Now we were discussing climate change and greenhouse gases. You see, both of them are linked. Now, as we know that we've been the humanity at such has been worried about the climate change. We just had a conference at Cancun and they tried to thrash out some sort of agreement, and people have been saying that they will cut the reduction of carbon emission only as per what is allowed, what they can do. So, there is not very fixed agreement as such. So, we see that industrialization will continue to take place. Some people want development, they want industrialization to continue, and of course, the developed countries are not in a hurry to cut down their greenhouse gases emission. So, you see the climate is changing, and of course, we have to save the earth also. Now, climate change and greenhouse gases, we were discussing greenhouse gases which are nothing but byproducts of industries, different industrial. We were talking about carbon dioxide, we were talking about nitrous oxide, we were talking of chlorofluorocarbons, and we were talking of methane. So, these are the major greenhouse gases. Now, these gases, as we said, they go into the air and they form sort of a blanket, and they do not allow the heat to be reflected back into space, this causing the rise in temperature. So, madam, is there any relation between climate change and greenhouse effects?
Yes, ma'am. Climate change, greenhouse effect and global warming or ozone layer depletion, all of them are interrelated. If you take the greenhouse gases, naturally these greenhouse gases, they will warm the globe, like the consequences of greenhouse gases, more concentration of greenhouse gases, they will cause global warming. Even ozone layer depletion also causes global warming, and this global warming in turn leads to climate change. So, all these factors, all these things are interlinked.
So, the different greenhouse gases, one is the carbon dioxide. Now, carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere as such, 0.03%, but of late has there been some increase in carbon dioxide?
Definitely there is an increase, especially as I was mentioning to you earlier, wherever the industries are there, it is more than 0.03%. It is increasing, especially in the industrialization areas, there is a definite increase, and with this increase, what is happening is more and more heat is there in the air or the atmosphere, which is ultimately leading to warming of the earth. So, definitely this concentration of carbon dioxide is more. Apart from carbon dioxide, we have the other greenhouse gases also which are on the rise.
Yeah, if we take the global statistics also, the carbon dioxide level in the past century, in the last century was 275 ppm, and 40 years back it rose up to 300 ppm, and now scientists are predicting that in the coming 40 years it's going to rise up to 450 ppm. So, there is a gradual increase in this carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere.
So, one of the reasons for this carbon dioxide increase is deforestation. Generally plants, they conduct photosynthesis.
Yes.
And they need carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
so that they can produce the glucose and the starch. But when the trees are being cut down, we cut down trees because of industries, we want industries, not the trees. So, when the trees are cut down, who is going to absorb the carbon dioxide? That is why you have the rise in carbon dioxide. There are no trees to absorb the carbon dioxide. So, if you can just highlight the carbon cycle, it will be very beneficial for our students, madam.
Carbon, especially the carbon dioxide in the air or the atmosphere, is utilized by the plants for the preparation of the food material, that is photosynthesis. When chloroplast pigment, green pigment is there, in the presence of sunlight and water, the plants utilize it and they synthesize C6H12O6. And then when the plants die, the organic matter, it goes into the soil, and the plants, the dead and decaying organic matter, it is acted upon by the bacteria, and the degradation of the organic matter takes place, and then what happens is again carbon dioxide is given into the air. So, from the atmosphere, carbon dioxide is synthesized by plants for photosynthesis, it enters into the plant, and the plant utilizes this end product for its various activities, and then when it dies, it enters into the soil, and then with the action of bacteria, it once again by the death and decay of the organic matter, carbon dioxide comes back. So, this is called as the biogeochemical cycling, and this carbon cycle is very, very important to us because we are dealing with climate change. So, the plants are the natural places where the excess the carbon dioxide is utilized. So, this was there, but apart from that, you find that as the plants are being cut down for various activities, deforestation is taking place, this natural sinks, plants are being replaced. Now the oceans play a very important role because they are the major sinks.
Sinks for the carbon.
Because the phytoplankton which are present in the oceans, they absorb this particular carbon dioxide, they synthesize the food material. So in the carbon cycle, the phytoplankton which are present in the oceans, which form a major part of the earth. As we all know that the earth is divided into three. The lithosphere or the land masses consists of 3/4 and 3/4 is the oceans, I am sorry, 3/4 is the ocean and 1/4 is the land. So the 7 great oceans which occupy a major one, they act as a sink for this carbon dioxide. So the carbon cycle is one of the important biogeochemical cycle. It is called as a biogeochemical cycle because it involves the plants or the animals, then the geo means it enters into the crust of the earth and then once again it comes back to the atmosphere. So there is a continuous cycling of this particular carbon dioxide from the earth to the plants, from the plants to the earth and from earth back to the atmosphere. So continuously cycling takes place. So it is called as the biogeochemical cycle, which is very important.
I just want to add some more points to what Madam said. This carbon cycle, as Madam said, we call plants as producers because they fix the carbon dioxide and with the help of sunlight they prepare carbohydrates and they will be transferred to the next trophic level, that is the consumers, okay, like herbivores, from herbivores to secondary consumers, and even the death and decay of these consumers also and also their activities like metabolic activities. We respire, we take oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. So likewise even those actions are also from these actions the carbon dioxide is again releasing it into the atmosphere. So the carbon cycle also continues in that way. Okay, and one more thing, as Madam said, the carbon sinks, we call oceans as the major sinks for the carbon, and these apart from the phytoplanktons fix the carbon dioxide and the remaining carbon dioxide will be stored in the oceans. It states that 40,000 teratons of carbon is stored in our oceans. Okay. So this will increase the acidity of the water. Okay, ocean water, because of the presence of the more amounts of carbon dioxide in the water, it leads to acidification of the oceans, which is which will have a harmful effect on the marine life. Okay.
So this phytoplankton of the oceans, they absorb carbon dioxide and conduct photosynthesis. Now, with the pollution of the marine that seas, the ecosystem would have been disturbed, isn't it?
Yes.
Because so much of oil is falling into that. Recently, Mexican Gulf, there was some pollution. So all these sort of accidents which keep taking place, the ecosystem will get disturbed. So naturally, the carbon cycle is again disturbed. You know. So again, man-made interference is there. Otherwise, the Earth has its own way of solving its problems. Everything is in place. Now, apart from when we are talking of oceans, we can also talk about El Nino phenomenon. This El Nino phenomenon recently brought in a spate of storms. So, please tell our students about this El Nino phenomenon.
It's El Nino phenomenon, it is also called as ENSO, that is El Nino Southern Oscillation. This is a quasi weather pattern changes in the Pacific Ocean, that is southern part of the Pacific Ocean. It is a change in the pressures, that is low pressure, it is a seesaw pattern and there will be a low pressure and high pressures. If the El Nino effect starts, some part of the Pacific Ocean, that is if the east part have low pressures, the western part of the Pacific Ocean it expects it will have high pressures. So it is a natural phenomena, and it happens once in the average length of that period will be 5 years. Okay, this name El Nino is a Spanish name. It is Christ child. The meaning of the name is El Nino is Christ child, because this phenomena occurs around Christmas. So they named it as Christ child, little boy. Okay. The opposite phenomena, because of this El Nino phenomena, we will see several changes in the Pacific Ocean region, like Indonesia, which is a dry region. It receives more amount of rainfall, and the other end, the Africa is not getting rains. Okay, so the rainfall decreased. Okay, that is El Nino phenomena. Okay, a southern oscillation it is called as.
I see. So we were talking about the El Nino phenomenon, but now we also want to know that some of these greenhouse gases which are released into the air, they are also called, they form a layer, but there is another layer which is known as the ozone layer
Yes.
in the troposphere. So this blanket is protective. It protects our life from harmful ultraviolet radiation. Now, due to these greenhouse gases, is there some danger to this layer, ozone layer? Would you like to answer, madam?
Yeah. Because of man's activities, because of the use of refrigerators, air conditioners especially, what is happening is we are releasing more and more CFCs into the air. So the chlorofluorocarbons will, here this is the ozone layer, this is the ozone layer which is a protective layer. The CFCs here which are let out from the houses, the balloons and from the factories will react with the ozone molecules, and it will help to destroy the ozone molecules. So here what is happening is this blanket of ozone layer, which is a protective one, is in course of time, because of the CFCs in the stratosphere, it breaks the ozone one, and it has been found out that in the Pacific Ocean a hole is being formed. So this hole in the ozone layer has harmful effects, because the ultraviolet radiations from the sun will directly fall through the hole, and it will fall on the human beings, the plants, animals and the human beings. They will be affected. Now, when you want to see the effects of this consequences, the human beings, when they are exposed to these ultraviolet radiations, some it causes skin cancers, which is called as squamous cell carcinoma. Then at the same time, another very important effect is malignant melanoma. Then apart from that, even cataracts develop. These are called as cortical cataracts. Apart from that, we have the respiratory problems also, respiratory problems in the human beings. Not only the human beings are affected, but even the plants and the animals are affected. In the animals, for example, it is leading to skin damage and severe sunburn. In the plants, epidermal tissues are damaged. And with the damage of the epidermal tissue, naturally in the rice plants and in all other crops, the yield will come down. So when the yield comes down, naturally there will be shortage of food. So you see that all these are very closely related to one another. That is the depletion of the ozone layer, which is one of the burning environmental problem today, is leading to disorders in the human beings, in the plants and animals. It is affecting life. So we have to take steps to prevent the release of these gases, which help in the depletion of the ozone layer.
I just want to add
Yes,
few
please.
points to that. As madam said, this ozone layer, it absorbs UV radiations. This UV radiation
it comes from the sun, and it is very, very harmful. And the ozone layer, it is present in the lower part of the stratosphere, and from Earth it is away 20 to 40 kilometers away from the Earth, and this will absorb 97 to 99% of the sun's UV rays. And the thickness of this ozone layer and the concentration of the ozone layer is it varies from it varies geographically and seasonally, because at poles the concentration will be more, and at the equator the concentration of the ozone layer, the thickness of the ozone layer is less. Even the spring season the ozone concentration will be more, and in winter season the ozone concentration will be less. Okay, how this ozone is formed? Earth's atmosphere consists of 21% of oxygen, that is molecular oxygen, that is O2, we all know. And this O2 molecule will be broken, will be split by the action of UV rays, and it is broken into atomic oxygen, that is O. So, this free O molecule, it combines with the unbroken O2 molecule, and the ozone is formed. Okay. This ozone is very unstable molecule, and it keeps on changing its structure. It is called as oxygen ozone cycle. Madam said the CFCs are causing more destruction to the ozone layer. See, not only the CFCs, BFCs, that is bromofluorocarbons, both these are combined together and called as organohalogens. Along with that, the nitrous oxide, nitric oxide, and hydroxyl OH ions also cause a depletion in ozone layer. When these CFCs, they contains organofluorocarbons, they are very stable compounds. They can, because of their stability, they can reach up to the stratosphere level, and now due to UV radiation, they will release, they split into radical molecules, and each radical molecule can initiate a chain of reactions, and each one molecule can destroy 1 lakh ozone molecules. Okay, that's how the ozone layer is getting depleted. Ozone hole is nothing, it's not literally a hole, but it is the decrease in the thickness. It was first observed in 1985 over Antarctica. Okay, Antarctica, and there was a decrease in 70% decrease in the ozone layer, and when we the scientists again recorded the ozone layer further depletion, there is 70% further decrease in this ozone layer. Okay.
So, it is only the thinning of the ozone layer, although we are literally calling it as a ozone hole, it is not a hole, but only thing at that particular place, the thickness of the ozone layer is thinning down.
Yes.
So, at a particular place they also say there is an ozone dimple. What is this ozone dimple?
Ozone dimple, it is formed recently, it is observed recently in Arctic region. So, there was a 30% decrease in ozone layer, we call it as total ozone column. There was a 30% decrease in total ozone column. It is not, it was observed in spring season, and they call it as ozone dimple. Okay, they gave a sweet name, ozone dimple.
So, you see that because of this depletion of ozone, the ultraviolet radiation is coming in and is causing a lot of harm. And in fact, in New Zealand, they don't allow the children to come out after 11 because of this ultraviolet radiation, which can cause mutations in young children and all that. So, you see now, because of the various industrial activities, there has been changes in our atmosphere, different, we have introduced several gases which are harmful, which are detrimental to our health. Especially we are talking about the health of the future generations. the present generation, because of its knowledge, is exploiting all the resources. They are saying that we require 2 earths to fulfill our dreams, you know. So, you see that the consequences of all this is rise in sea levels, flooding of the earth, where will be, and the fall in productivity of agriculture, more diseases. So, you know, it does not hold a very bright future for our next generation.
Yes.
We have used up all that. So, we had a very good discussion on climate change and greenhouse gases. It is essential that all of us must know, and environmental awareness must be there, and that is only through environmental education. Thank you very much for joining in.